All right, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, as always, we're going to start off by giving all honor, praise, and glory to
Yahweh,
Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem,
Rakakwadash.
and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach where we learned this truth from. And may peace, mercy, and blessings be upon the hopeful elect that believe in this truth and sincerity. It's the brother Yahweh Khan.
It's Brother Kazak.
We're the brothers from the GMS Cleveland branch coming back through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, this be an edifying lesson. You know, we just came out of the Feast of Purim, okay, which that was from the 10th when the sun went down that evening to the 12th when the sun went down that evening, which I believe that was Monday through Wednesday, or Monday night through Wednesday night, which the Feast of Purim, it was based off of, you know, the you read about the account in the book of Esther and the additions to Esther, which just in a nutshell, it was basically a false accuser that came against, okay, the Jews that was dwelling in the land at that time, namely Southern Kingdom, okay, and the Lord had flipped the tables on them. Okay, the false accuser ended up being cast down, which we're going to go into it because the same thing is playing out in real time, you know, on a bigger scale, because that's just dealing with one person and their family, namely Haman, and him accusing, you know, just a Southern Kingdom. But now, because we know Haman, he descended from Esau, Edom. You know, Scripture tell you how he's an Agagite, which Agag, you go back during the time of Saul and Samuel, that was one of the kings of Amalek, okay, a Edomite. Okay, so he would be a Edomite. So the Edomites is doing the same thing all over again. What you got it though?
Okay, we're gonna start it.
Oh, you can start from the top.
Start at the top, Khan. This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, after these things did King Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes, promote Haman the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Okay, and you may mention Ahasuerus is talking about Xerxes the first. So that shows you this is during the Medo-Persian Empire. But it said that because Xerxes was the king, but it said that he promoted Haman and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. So in a sense, he gave him what? He gave him power.
Yep.
You know, just like the Lord that gave these devils power here in these latter days.
Yep, Khan.
If you want to go to Psalm 75 real quick.
Khan.
Psalm 75.
This is Psalms chapter 75.
I think you started like verse 6.
And verse 6. It says, I'm sure.
Who's you gonna start up?
Oh, I start at 4.
Okay.
I said, it's Psalm 75 and 4. It says, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn.
You've been lifting up your horn, meaning once you get exalted to a status, you start to boast and make it seem like it was of your doing, it was of your power.
Yep, because another person that did that was Nebuchadnezzar. The Lord set him in a position, and he had to bring Nebuchadnezzar down to let him know that he wasn't nothing but a man. And that's what the Lord is doing to these devils here in these latter times. Because the scriptures tell you in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, that they see them the Most High and say that they are the Most High. And then scriptures tell you in Ezekiel that the Lord is going to show them to be but man. So, right? It says, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. Like I said, it's going into the same thing that Haman did, but it's like I said, that's what Nebuchadnezzar did. And the Lord made him lay down with beasts for what was that, 7 years? And then he restored him into his seat. Right? And to the point he had to acknowledge that Yahweh Shai was power. Right? It was the only true power. And that's what these devils are getting ready to have to do here in these latter times. They acknowledge that Yahweh Shai is the only power. Even 2/3 of our people here in this latter time, they finna have to, because things are starting to happen at such an advanced rate that you're gonna have to acknowledge that this ain't just things that's happening in the world, or it ain't Mother Nature, or it ain't this, it ain't that. It's Yahweh Shai. So it says, I'm gonna bring that verse back for you. It's Psalm 75 and verse 5. It says, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. And that's what these devils, even then, that's what these devils doing. With seeing these laws that Donald Trump is passing, these executive orders, that's him speaking with a stiff neck. That's them being proud. That's showing you that they think that they have all the power, that they can run the world in the way that they choose to run the world.
Because at the same time, you got the prophets telling them that they've been set up.
Yeah.
They got different artifacts, relics.
Yep.
Shit, they understand certain prophecies to know that they've been set up, but yet they still speak with that stiff neck. They still saying that they go obtain immortality through wickedness. They still saying that the AI can replace the Most High, His Son, and so on and so forth.
That's right, Doc. This verse 6, it says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south." It says, "But the Most High is the judge."
Yep, so promoted, meaning being lifted up, having a chance to rule. It didn't come from over here, from over there. It didn't come from that person. No, it came from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Just like we read in Esther. Xerxes set up Haman because the Lord put it on his spirit to do so. It'll tell you that, what, Proverbs 21:1? The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will.
That's right. It says, I'm going to bring it back. "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He put down one and set up another."
Yeah, and that's the point. The Lord, he sets up kingdoms and he removes kingdoms, just as well as the people within the kingdoms. So we read during the Medo-Persian Empire, Haman being set up, but we equating that to the Edomites being set up here in these latter days.
That's right. I'm going to jump to this last verse. This is Psalm 75:10. It says, "All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off." It says, "But the horns of the righteous shall be exalted." And that's what you get ready to see happen, because Jacob is the end. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that follow. The Lord, because of riches, things gotten by the seat, this kingdom is translated from one people to another. So you're literally finna see the wicked get cut off and the righteous coming into authority under Yahweh Shai. Like, literally, these are the things that's going to take place. And that's the same thing that's going to take place in this story as well.
Yeah, and if you could go back to the...
And
if you could go on to Haman.
I'm going to Haman. When you go into Haman, first verse, it says, Haman is equal magnificent. It says, "Chief minister of Ahasuerus, enemy of Mordecai and the Jews, who plotted to kill the Jews, but being fooled by
unknown caller.
But being fooled by Esther was hanged with it." Salakia. Get it going back. Yeah, kind. All right. So it says, I'm going to bring that back, Salakia. It says, Haman equals magnificent. It says, chief minister of Ahasuerus, enemy of Mordecai and the Jews, who plotted to kill the Jews, but being fooled by Esther, was hanged with his family on the gallows he had made for Mordecai.
God, that's the same thing that's about to happen now. But if you could look up the etymology of the word magnificent.
God, as you go into the word magnificent on our etymology.
Because that's like a nomen omen in a sense, which that's Latin for name prediction. Meaning when someone comes upon the planet Earth, the name that they was given at birth most likely tells something that will play out later on in their life. So the name that Haman was given was magnificent.
God. So when you go into this word magnificent in the online etymology, it says exalted.
You see, exalted, just as Xerxes exalted him. So that was that name prediction.
It says glorious, great in actions or deeds.
Yeah.
It says great, elevated, noble, distinguished, literally doing great deeds. It says combining form. It says to set by grandeur or stateliness, living in splendor.
And that's exactly what you see here with America, with the Edomites, and even going back to Haman. You see them, what it say, living with stateliness and splendor. Which that's that having all the resources, convincing the nations that America got streets paved with gold. You could come over here and obtain the American dream, because they see certain higher up Edomites, even certain celebrities as Jakes. They see them living in splendor. So they see them being magnificent, but not considering the fact that they about to enter into poverty.
Yes, sir.
You can go back to that.
This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, "And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman."
You see that? So the king's servants, that's talking about the different princes, because we read in the first verse, it said he was above all the princes, but those same ones that would have been like his co-rulers, they was bowing to him and showing reverence to him. What's the same thing with America? Real quick, let me Let me grab this.
Con.
This is the book of Daniel. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, and verse 20. Well, I started verse 19. It says, then, which it goes, chapter goes to the vision that Daniel saw the four beasts. But he saw literal beasts, but they was a representation of the four great kingdoms that will come upon the planet Earth, preceding the Messiah's kingdom. So it's Daniel 7 and 20 or 19. Then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which the fourth beast he saw was the Roman Empire, which it would be an extension to Rome, as we're gonna read. It says, then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others. And how was the Roman Empire diverse from the previous kingdoms?
Yeah.
Instead of it being a monarchy, they set up a democracy. Okay, instead of the king being selected according to progeny, okay, meaning he was the son of a king, his father was the son of a king, and so on and so forth. Instead of them selecting the ruler according to that, it was through the Senate House. Yep. You know, the different senators and they would come and cast their vote, and then they would pick somebody. That's the same thing America does today, showing you that it's Rome revised.
You can.
But it says exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which that's going into their military might. Okay, the different fighter jets. Okay, the actual equipment that they may use and guns and things like that. It says, which devour, break in pieces, and stack the residue with his feet. And that's the point, verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. That's going into America. Okay, it said of the 10 horns that's going into the EU, you know, the 10 vassal states, which out of the 10 horns, you had 3 of those horns that America had to fight in order to establish its power. You had the French-American War. You had the Spanish-American War, and what was it, the British-American War. Mm-hmm. No, those are 3 horns that fell before America. It said that America had eyes, which that's going into his wisdom, his left hand wisdom. It says, and a mouth that spake very great things. That's the blasphemies, the saying that I am God. Now you need to bow to me. Yep. I am Jesus Christ. I am God. Okay, you can't worship none other else.
Yep, that's weird. I got the word blasphemy. And the online etymology, it says impious or profane, speaking of the Most High or sacred things. It says,
and that's in a bad manner.
Yep, that's right. Right? It says back you up. It says a speaking ill, impious speech, slander, to speak evil of. Right? They speak evil of the children of Israel. They speak evil of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They speak evil of the scriptures, right? From one minute they want to ban the scriptures, and one minute they want to ban the scriptures, and then now they want to set it up to be but ultimately they want to use it for Christianity, because that's ultimately what they want everybody. The umbrella that they're gonna try to force the world under is Christianity. You know what I'm saying? But you got it out.
That was it on that definition?
Well, there's some more. It says utterance. It says let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it.
And if you want to go to Ezekiel 36, I think it's like verse 5, says how the Lord has heard the blasphemies.
This is Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 5.
Because this is all linking up to the mouth of that horn speaking great things. The great things is talk about the blasphemies. Would you blaspheme somebody in order to destroy their reputation? What you got it?
Okay, this is Ezekiel 36 and verse 5. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey.
Yeah, and that's how you know that Edom will rule in the land of Israel, which that's what they doing now. But this time, they calling themselves the people when they really not.
Yep, that's right.
I think it should be some more.
Okay, kind. Verse 6, it says, prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fear, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I have lifted up my hand, surely the heathen that are round about you, they shall bear their shame.
So like it. I thought it was in this chapter.
Let's see.
Oh no, so like it's chapter 35.
Yeah,
chapter 35.
35 and 5, right?
Oh no, verse 11.
Con.
Start at 11.
This is Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 11. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will."
Which this chapter is also the Lord speaking to Esau, Edom.
Con. It says, "Therefore, Ezekiel 35 and 11. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy." It says, "Which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them." It says, "When I have judged thee."
God, because all the hatred, the perpetual hatred that I read about earlier in the chapter, that the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white man, then this has displayed against the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American man over the past hundreds of years, all of that is about to be recompensed.
Here the Lord said, "Render to them double." It says, "And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume."
So the Lord heard all the hot shit that Esau been talking, which that's the mindset of the Edomites, that the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American man was given over them. We was given over to them for them to do as they please. That's why, as we gonna read back with Haman, that's why it was on his spirit to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna hang Mordecai, and I'm gonna decree all the Jews to get murdered because they feel like we was giving them to them to consume.
That and that's another thing too that ties into the time now, because they're getting ready to try to set that's what Esau, he's getting ready to roll out a new agenda, right? A new world order, NW. You know what I'm saying? There's got the MOT to the B attached to it, and because guess what? That just like then, right? It's gonna tell you that in Wisdom Psalm, the second chapter, because see, we were contrary to their ways back then, and that's what he was telling Haman. Like, look, go ahead and sign this decree, because like they are opposed, they control opposition to what we believe in and to our ways. They hold laws that are contrary to ours, right? And because of that, we need to do away with them. And so it's the same thing that they're going to do now, because the ones that hold it, because that's what the scriptures say in 2 Corinthians 16, it's going to be a great insurrection upon those that fear the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Why? Because we hold the testimony of our Lord and Savior, Hamashiach Yahushua, right? Because we clean contrary to their ways. And so they're going to seek to do away with us because of those things. But jumping back into it.
Hold on, let me,
okay, you got it.
Daniel 7 and 20, it says, "From the top and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell," going into America in the 3 revolutionary wars against Spain, Britain, and France. It says, "Even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things," as we was going into the blasphemies, them saying that they are God, saying that the Lord's people belong to them. They can see him and all type of madness. It says, "Whose look was more stout than his fellows," and going into how America is think it's better than these other European countries. Why? Because it has been exalted above these other European countries, just like Haman was exalted above all the princes of Persia at that time. What you got it?
God, this is Esther chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, "And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence." And that's the same state we stand in here today. Is we refusing, just like in the time of Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? With Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refusing to worship the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up at the sound of any music, just like we're doing here in these latter times, refusing to bow to the ways of this society. You know what I'm saying? Refusing to bow to, to come off of our what we're rooted in. Being this wisdom, knowledge, understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Everything else is cool as long as it don't go against us having to sacrifice our laws, statutes, commandments to get down with this society.
I got a quick precept.
Can
you read that verse again?
I got you. This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, "And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence."
And when you reverence somebody, that's you putting them in that godlike status.
Yep.
You know, you look at, because reverence goes back to fear or deep respect, which that's the way you want to look at the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
And Yahushua's only begotten Son. But that's how they was looking at Haman. Just like the people was looking at Esau Edom like that today, like he a god.
Yeah.
But this is real quick. This is Romans chapter 11, because we read said all the other servants was bowing to Haman, but Mordecai didn't. Which that would be a representation of the elect, because the elect gonna be the only ones out of the whole world that don't consent to this agenda. But this is Romans chapter 11, verse 4. Well, I started, verse 4. It says, but what said the answer of the Most High unto him? This is Paul going back into the history during the time of Elijah, when you had all the, you had Jezebel ruling and Ahab, and they was doing what? They was setting up the spirit of Baal, the spirit of Satan. Okay, they were setting up the different pagan altars and pulling down the Lord's altars, killing the Lord's prophets. Okay, but so it says, but what said the answer of the Most High unto him? But how did the Lord reply to Elijah? Because Elijah felt like he was the only one left. It says, I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so, then at this present time, also there's a remnant according to the election of grace. So that 7, that represents completion. Just as it was a complete number of men of the Lord that wasn't following after Baal during the time of Elijah, it's the same thing now in these latter days. You gotta, it's a remnant that was elected to not bow down, and that's what Mordecai was representing. Do you have something? You can go back to that.
Kind. This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 3. It says, then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Right? Because the only commandments that we're to follow after are the ones of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So it says, now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And see, and that's the same things that's going to stand here in these latter times, because we uphold the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And that's what's going to prevail in the end, is the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And that's why we're going to prevail. That's why we're going to prevail in the end, is because we uphold the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Everything else is contrary to the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. These laws that they pass in the society, the things that they live after, and the things that they uphold. And those are the things that's going to come to naught. And that's why those things came to naught then in that time. That's why they asked them within themselves, like, let's try Mordecai. Let's see if these things will stand. That's the same thing that they're going to do. That's the same thing. It's symbolic for what when you read Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter.
Yeah, I got that.
Kind. I'm going to keep reading. Yeah. So in this verse 4, Esther chapter 3 and verse 4, it says, now it came to pass when they spake daily unto them, and he hearkened not unto them, that
so every day they was inquiring why Mordecai wasn't bowing to Haman, and they was.
Yeah.
They wasn't feeling that. And it's the same thing now. That these niggas, these Edomites, these low-level Edomites, everybody outside the truth is looking at the men of the Lord awkward, like they weird, because they not bowing, they not submitting to this agenda.
Yep, how funny they look when you in these certain areas, or you hear the national anthem come on and everybody stand up and take their hats off, and you still sitting there looking. You know what I'm saying? Real shit, because I experienced that at my son's football game. But even when I was playing, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers looking like, what the fuck? Like, this motherfucker ain't singing the national anthem. Or had my daughter tell me how they be looking at her when she don't sing the Pledge of Allegiance in school. You feel me? Just real shit though, because we refuse to uphold the ways of this society. We stand for the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua only.
Yo, I got a quick one real quick. Just to back up what you were saying. This is Proverbs chapter 29. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 27. An unjust man is an abomination to the just.
Ooh.
And he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked.
See, so it's showing you though, it's a distinction between the two. They hate us because we ain't like them, and we hate them because they ain't like us. And they could never be us. That's the thing. And that's why they so mad, because we refuse to forsake the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and follow after them. Right? And ultimately that's what it is. Like when the brother opened up, they want us to forsake our God and serve them as God. See them as power. You know what I'm saying? They accept their way. But this is the only way. The way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is the only way. Although any other way outside of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is gonna lead to destruction. And that's why when they set these different traps and these different plots against Israel, they fall into them, because their way is contrary. It would be different if we wasn't serving our power and wasn't doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's just like in the book of Judith. That's right. When they set the Moabite outside the camp and they thought the Jews would kill him, the Israelites would kill him. But he was like, but before then he was telling Nebuchadnezzar, foot soldier, like, look, I wouldn't go fucking with him. Because if they doing what they supposed to be doing, if they doing right by their power, serving the Lord the way they supposed to be serving them, it ain't gonna be nothing you can do to overthrow them. But if they not, then you'll be able to overthrow them. And that's why you're gonna see 2/3 of our people get overthrown here in these latter days, and the remnant is gonna be kept, the elect, because they didn't fall or get tricked into serving everything outside of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
That's at Sirach 27:3.
Lest
a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord's house,
will soon be overthrown. That's right, Doc.
Because the Lord uses heathens, namely in this time, Esau Edom, the wicked, his sword to overthrow Jake.
That's right.
The Jakes that's not serving them though.
Yep. And that's what's gonna happen, because it's so crazy, because I was watching this shit on TikTok. I'm gonna show you when we end, but I was watching this shit on TikTok this morning, and it was this Edomite talking, like he was like, man, Jakes that's out of shape, Jakes that don't work out. If you ain't got a gun, go get one. He's just telling Jake to do all these carnal things. He was like, because these different white militias are starting to be risen up here in these latter times. But he's like, people thinking like this shit just happened overnight. But these motherfuckers been practicing for this moment for years. And he was like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna all go by the same name, but they gonna all do the same thing. And it instantly made, like I'm gonna go into it later, because it instantly made me think about the movie that Elder Amar told us to watch. What was that? The domestics. You know what I'm saying? You had these different white militias that were rising up. Granted, they wasn't just killing Jakes, but they was killing motherfuckers that was in these areas. But that's what you finna see happen to Jake, because see, Jake it's the time of Jacob's trouble. But it said he shall be saved out of it. Who? The elect, the ones that refuse to get down with any other way outside of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Kind. So this Esther 3 and 5. You had something else?
No, you got it.
Kind. This Esther 3 and 5. It says, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And that's what's finna happen, because you even heard, even dealing with this nigga DJ Trump, you heard what you heard Obama wife say. She said in a news presser that Donald Trump not gonna just roll. Donald Trump ain't just getting ready to roll on these immigrants and certain people. He's gonna roll on everybody that's contrary to the ways that he's pushing. Because guess what? That's just gonna enrage him. That's what's gonna enrage him against the prophets. When you realize that they ain't bowing down, they see me doing all this shit, they ain't gonna get with my way. We finna roll on them, and that show you the persecution is coming. So it says, was Haman full of wrath, and that's what Haman tried to come with. Haman tried to come with persecution upon the Jews because they refused his way, and it started with Mordecai. Just like here in these times, it's starting with the prophets. Exactly. So it's gonna awaken more people that's gonna follow after Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that's gonna forsake the ways of this world, and it's gonna be such a mass following that's why the persecution is gonna have to come, because of the ones that started it. The ones that and as the Lord put the spirit on our apostles and elders and the men on down to be the leaders of the nation of Israel to escape the traps that they're trying to set for us.
That's it. Let me read this.
Go ahead, you got it.
This is Revelation 12 and 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman. The dragon is the Edomite power structure.
Yep.
Specifically the pagan Roman Empire, which is back today through America.
That's right.
And NATO and the EU. So it says the dragon was wroth with the woman being who? Israel.
Okay.
It says, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? So that just like the brothers just read. And so that's what it is, because like we quoted it earlier, 2 Ezra 16, that great insurrection upon those that fear the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's what's coming, because we hold the testimony of our Lord and Savior Hamashiach Yahushua. That's why the scriptures talk about we love not our lives unto death. You know what I'm saying? Following the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. You know what I'm saying? We're only to obey. Like that's the thing. That scriptures talk about in the John the 10th chapter. We hear the voice of the shepherd, and we ain't gonna follow after any other voice. If we understand that it's contrary to the ways of our power, we ain't following it. If it causes us to compromise ourselves and our what is that? Our integrity in the Lord, then we ain't doing it. And that's the thing. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like it's just like all the other stories you read about in the scriptures with the seven sons of the book of Maccabees, Eleazar in 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. You know what I'm saying? We refuse to compromise our integrity in Yahweh Shem Yahushua to follow after any other way, and that's why Mordecai refused to bow.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna just read that real quick, and this is the Esther.
Khan Baba Kashan, yes sir.
Khan.
Yeah. Now you good? I'll take your time.
This is to Esther chapter chapter verse. So like in chapter 13, I'm gonna start at verse 11. It says, "Thou," and this is Mordecai praying to the Lord after Haman got the go ahead to make the decree for all the Jews to be put to death. You know, to be murdered. Because at that point, Jake knew that shit. We can't be in the house of mirth. We can't. We in the house of mourning now. When you read the whole account, that because all the Israelites in that land, they had ended up renting their clothes and fasting for 3 days because they understood that we need to seek our power before this shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
But this is Mordecai. It's like this is the Esther chapter 13, starting at verse 11. It says, "Thou art Lord." Well, I start at 9. It says, saying, "O Lord, Lord, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power." You see, we were speaking about that earlier. The Lord is in control of everything. The fact that he's got these devils ruling and coming out with all this technology, and they got this mighty ass military with robot dogs and things like that, it's because the Lord gave him the power. It says, "And if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee." And we know that's what the Lord has appointed. That's a part of his counsel. It said, "I will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel." Okay, and namely the elect. And can't nobody talk the Lord out of that. He said he gonna do it, and that's what he gonna do. In verse 10, "For thou hast made heaven and earth and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art Lord of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the Lord. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride, nor for any desire of glory, that I did not bow down to proud Haman."
Come on. So he let you know, like, it ain't because of pride I ain't doing these things, or no vain glory because I want the nation to seek after me and to just to follow after me. He was being an example. He was being an example for the nation of Israel that we don't bow to anything outside of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And that's why he did it. You know what I'm saying? That's why he did it. It wasn't just so he could receive praise or I'm just this mighty man. It was to show the Lord how committed he was to him. And that's what we finna do here in these latter days, is show the Lord how committed we are to him by refusing the revival of this Roman Empire, refusing the MOT to the B, the hour of temptation, by holding fast to our faith that no man take our crown. That's just how we're going to do it.
And it says, verse 13, for I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel to kiss the soles of his feet. Meaning, if that's what the Lord wanted him to do in order for us to get delivered, he would have did it.
Yeah, but the Lord put the Spirit on him to do something else. Oh, let's go. It says, go ahead.
Verse 14 says, "But I did this that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of the Most High. Neither will I worship any but thee, O power, neither will I do it in pride." Like you said, his sole purpose was, I'm not about to bow down to this nigga. I only bow down to Yahweh Shema Shah. It wasn't him trying to make himself to be bigger than Haman. No, he said he didn't do it in contempt or in pride, but solely because he wouldn't bow down to receive glory of men, but rather the glory of the Most High.
Yep, and that's a mighty deal, man. And like I said, that's the same stead we standing in here in these latter days. It's because these devils getting ready to do the same thing they did back then. That's what we titled the lesson. Haman about to lose again. These devils always losing in. We're fighting a fixed fight. That was a fixed fight that Israel fought. It's just that they showed, like, they showed the reverence, right? That reverence that Haman wanted. Instead of having that reverence for Haman, we had that reverence in unto our power in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. How do you know they had that reverence? Because them understanding the Lord, what did it cause them to do? Like the brother said, it caused them to fast 3 days and to acknowledge Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and that he was the power that ruled the universe, that ruled the world, not these devils. So why would I bow to a power that ain't got no power? This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, "And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath."
Yep, and it's in a sense, it's the same thing that happened with Herod when you read in the book of Matthew, the 2nd chapter, because you had the shepherds. They were saying, "What? Where's the king of Israel?" Well, whole time Herod was supposed to be the king of Israel. So the fact that they was reverencing a different king, which is our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shah, that brought contempt, and it resulted in Herod bringing wrath, okay, during the time of Yahweh Shah being born, when he had the different Roman troops murder all the children from 2 years and under in certain lands. You know, that was all because he wasn't getting that reverence that he thought he had. It's the same thing that happened with Haman.
That's right, Doc. This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 6. It says, "And he thought to scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai."
So he thought to scorn, meaning he was like, "Nah, that's not enough. We can't just get him. they showed him the people of Mordecai. I mean, no, he a Jew, and here go the rest of the Jews.
Yep. It says, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, 127 provinces. When you read the book, when you started Esther, the first chapter, he was over 127 provinces. I mean, provinces are like a state, so 127 states, not 50, but 127 of them. It says, throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Yep. Now we're gonna go to 2 Ezra 16.
This
is second, because the same thing happening now. He said, "Nah, I know he the only individual that didn't bow down before me, but yet I want all of them." That's the same thing happening now, because we read in Revelation 12, it said the remnant of her seed which keep the commandments. Only the remnant is worried about serving the Lord in these dark ass times in this present evil world. But yet that's going to affect the rest of our nation, because these devils, they don't like none of us.
Go ahead.
I would say whether we serving the Lord or not, they still don't like you niggas.
Yep, because they understand that because of one, all the other ones that believe on the same things gonna follow suit. It's just like, just to give you an example, it's just like when you read the book of Esther. When you read the book of Esther, Esther had a wife, right? Esther had a wife, and he had summoned to see her, right?
Xerxes had a wife.
Yeah, Xerxes had a wife, and she refused him. And they was like, no, look, you got to put her away. Because if you don't put her away, all the other women of the kingdom gonna hear it, and they gonna follow after the same shit she did. So it's the same analogy when you deal with the nation of Israel. By the nation of Israel seeing its leaders rebel and stand against the ways that these devils are pushing in a latter time, it's gonna give the other people that believe on the Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and the testimony of Mashiach Yahushua to rebel against this kingdom as well. So that's why he's gonna send out that decree to spoil us all.
And let's take Ezra chapter 16 and verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Because that's what they aimed at. You know, the insurrection is a rising up against. And that's what was being decreed during the time of Esther. He put out the decree for on this day, okay, everybody that's around the Jews supposed to rise up and murder them. So it's the same thing now. That great insurrection, that's going to be the different troops. Okay, that's going to be aimed at the men of the Lord, but they going to get all you niggas spikes and tomahawks. Y'all just going to get caught in the crossfire.
Yep.
But they aiming at the men of the Lord.
Yep. Like you said, even these different white militias that's raising up because they believe on Donald DJ Trump. They believe on the things that he's pushing. And so they ready to roll. Just like they rolled during that January 6th Capitol riot because they were for his vision. They're going to roll here in these latter times because of for his vision. But he's going to give them more courage to do so because he's going to back the things that they're going to do to get the ones that are opposed to his way.
Yep. And best believe, like you said, this shit not overnight. Best believe they already watching these different militias. They be driving past them, and they probably done drove past the camps. They probably done seen certain Israelites that have been misled, walking through the grocery store with their fringes on. Yeah, he one of them niggas. I'm going to get his ass when shit hit the fan. But it's the 2 Ezra 16 and verse 70 again. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. It don't matter if you only watch 5 minutes of a video, if you only commented one time, if you only subscribe. None of that matter. They're gonna lump us all together.
Yeah, you only say shalom. Yeah, like you said, they're gonna lump us all together.
Yep.
This verse, I'm going to read verse 5 again. Now I'm going to slack you, verse 6. It says, Esther 3 and 6, it says, and he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom and Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
And now if you could jump down to verse 13.
And then when you jump to verse 13, I want to read just a little bit of it, just for the context. This verse 8, I'm gonna breeze through it. This Esther 3 and 8. It says, and Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of the kingdom. And you see, you got camps. That's the same thing not hitting down today. You got camps set up all over. It ain't a state you go into, you ain't gonna find GMS. you know what I'm saying, or Israelite camp at all, for that matter. You feel what I'm saying? We're all over. It says, and that's the part of the curse. The Lord has scattered us all over. And now the Lord has stirred up our minds by pure way of remembrance. We're waking up all over the place where the Lord has scattered us. It says, there are certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people of all the provinces of the kingdom. And their laws are diverse from all people. We're the only ones that hold these laws. These statutes were only to the nation of Israel, right? The Lord has only shown these laws, statutes, commandments unto the nation of Israel. It says, neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them, meaning to let them live, to even have them around, to have them in existence, right? It says, if it please the king, let it be written that, it says that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it to the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy, right? And then it says, so when you jump to verse 13, it says, and the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day. It says, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. So within a year, because when you jump back up and when you read through those other verses, it's showing you that this was going to go in effect in a whole calendar year later. So by the time this time came around the next year, it was going to take place to kill all those Jews, right, that uphold these ways that are contrary to our ways.
And that's the same. That's what we read in 2 Ezra 16. So gonna be a madman sparing none.
Yep.
He said young and old, little children and women. That's the same decree that the Lord gave to the angels in Ezekiel the 9th chapter.
Yes, sir.
Showing you that the Lord is on one accord with this taking place. Okay, because this time the Lord is gonna allow that insurrection to be fulfilled. Just that the elect gonna be preserved from it. Because going back to during the time of Haman, ain't no Israelites get put to death. But this time, the Lord's about to allow it to happen.
I'm gonna jump a chapter over.
Oh, Salakia. I'm gonna read this real quick. This Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, because when you read, he said, because that was basically him slandering Israel to Xerxes. He said, can you read that verse again? Verse 8.
This is Esther chapter 3 and verse 8. And it reads, it says, and Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of the kingdom, and of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
You see, he said their laws are diverse, which another word for diverse will be different. You know, or you can even use the word contrary, because that's what the wicked said. As I'm about to read here, Wisdom of Solomon 2, I'm gonna read 1 and I'm gonna just down. It says, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. So it's gonna show you the thought process of the ungodly, of the wicked. It says, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. And that's where you get that YOLO spirit, you know. But jumping down to verse 16, it says, well, I started 15. It says, he is grievous unto us even to behold. Now this is the wicked speaking about the godly, the righteous. It said, he is grievous unto us even to behold, to even see Jake. Okay, it stirs up these devils. It says, for his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion. And why is that? Because the life of an Israelite man, beginning with the man, but also the woman and child, is supposed to be centered around what the scriptures say. And that's what caused it to not be like other men's, meaning other nations. Because other nations, they don't, like you said, they wasn't given the scriptures, they wasn't given the law, statutes, and commandments as a guideline to how they supposed to carry their life upon the planet Earth. Therefore, when we do these things, it's different from them. And it says his ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness.
Right, so showing the clean, literally the Lord's way is the clean way, it's the right way, right? The way of the Lord is right, and they abstain for our ways as filthiness, meaning they not only do they look at our nation as filthy, they look at our ways as filthy, right? And this is supposed to be our wisdom in the sight of the nations, and they abstain from these ways as with filthiness. You got it out.
It says, he pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his father. And it don't go into the details when you read on the account with Haman and Mordecai, but you never know. The Mordecai could have been saying that to Haman. Why would I bow to you and I'm only supposed to bow to Yahweh? They don't go into the detail of whether or not they had dialogue, but you got to be a visionary. You got to, because the Lord is dramatic. That's how he do things.
Like Elder Apostle Gabar always say, man, you got to use your imagination when you read the scriptures.
Yep. So it said, verse 17, let us see if his words be true. And let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
So let me try you then. Let me try your ass out. Let me goddamn walk your ass to this guillotine. Let me do you like Nebuchadnezzar did. Make this furnace 10 times more hotter, like the seven sons in the book of Maccabees. Let me kill one brother in front of you and see if you goddamn fold in. You see me scalp him and flay his skin off his body, and you understand that you next. Let me see if you goddamn denounce the faith then. That's the mindset these devils got. Is once you see one drop or once you see one get rolled on, I bet you to get the rest of y'all mind right. It's just like doing chattel slavery. When you watch one thing happen to one slave, it'll scare you into getting right. Like, shit, I don't want that to happen to me. Or, matter of fact, I don't want that to happen to my children. You feel what I'm saying? And it'll get the rest of Jake in line. But see, now we living in a different time. The Lord finna put a different spirit upon those ones that refuse to bow their knee to the image of Baal. The ones that refuse to get to the system. The Lord is finna put the same spirit that he put on us, the same spirit that he put on Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel in the lion's den. Eleazar in the midst of those wicked leaders, and the 7 sons in the book of Maccabees, and so on and so forth. That's the spirit that the Lord is putting on the men that he's rising up in these latter times. We're warriors.
If you want to go to Psalms 116, I think it is.
And 19.
Where it say precious the blood.
Yeah. Precious in the sight of the Lord.
Just hold on. Back in Wisdom of Solomon 2:18, and this once again, this is how the wicked think about the righteous. It says, for if the just man be the son of the Most High, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. You quoted the story of the 7 sons in the book of 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter. What they was doing, they was coming up against Antiochus Epiphanes because he was trying to Hellenize them. He was trying to force the Greek ways upon them, and they said, no, we'd rather serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
That's right.
Basically, and what was Antiochus' conclusion after they was in that mindset? Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Which, patience goes back to suffer. So these devils want to see if we really gonna suffer the way they want to see if we gonna walk the talk. Because every time we do these videos, every time we cut the camera on, we talking it, but the Lord is gonna put the spirit on them to actually roll on us and bring brothers to certain camps and things like that to see if we gonna walk what you was talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if you about it, nigga. Yeah. I got that. You want me to bring this out now? You got some more? Couple more verses. Okay, you got it.
Verse 20, it says, let us condemn him with a shameful death. Which through that same so-called shameful death is actually going to bring glory upon the man of the Lord. Because the scripture tell you how a good name is better than precious ointment. It's going to continue with you forever, roughly paraphrasing. So that good name is attached to your reputation. And what's the reputation of the men of the Lord? Some of them, that they're going to be willing to get put to death for this truth, for the Lord. So it says, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Then that's when, not just Esau, but also the wicked Jakes. You might be around some wicked Jakes that saw you on the line and saw you chanting down Babylon. You might be in a goddamn camp with their ass, and then they see you standing on what you was talking. So that's why I said, by his own saying he shall be respected. In verse 21, it says, such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. Because Esau is not going to be considering the fact that the Lord is actually with us, regardless of how it may play out. Whether or not he get behead certain brothers, or he might get to the point where the goddamn the blade about to drop down on you, and then an angel deliver you. But either way it go, that's when they're going to come to the realization, the Lord was with them. But leading up to that point, they was blinded by their wickedness.
I got a precept just to back you up real quick. This 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 30. And this going into the story of Eleazar and what he did. It said, I'm going to jump to verse 30 though. It says, but when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten. but in soul am well content to suffer these things because I fear him. Right? So Eleazar, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it don't feel good, but I'm willing to suffer all these things to please my power. Yep. Right? It says, and thus this man died, talking about Eleazar, leaving his death for an example. His death was left in his example, right, of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but to all his nation. Because it's basically, he's leaving an example for the follow. That's why the scriptures talk about Romans 15:4, the things were written aforetime, were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. That's how important these things are, especially for the times that we getting ready to come into. Because like the brother was reading in Wisdom of Solomon 2, these devils finna do that shit for real. They finna see if we really about the things that we prophesying about and talking about in these lessons. When we go out into the highways and the hedges, or the shit that they even see some of you sisters put on the comment board, Shalom, you know what I'm saying? Or these men, you know what I'm saying? Or these little children that follow after the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They getting ready to try us all, just to see if we really gonna stand tall in the midst of adversity. And Eleazar, it was so pure. When you read this story, it's a beautiful story. But I'm gonna read that verse again, the 2 Maccabees 6:31. It says, and thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage. It was a noble thing for him to do what he did. He says, why? It says, in a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, it says, but unto all his nation, the ones that believe on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. An example for you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Assembly Indians to show how you stand tall in the midst of adversity, in the midst of death, in the midst of persecution, because it's coming. You got it, Doc.
This is real quick. Sirach chapter 41, verse 12. Have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. A good life hath but few days, which that good life at that time that you was reading with the elder man Eleazar during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, that good life would have been in the form if they would have consented. If they would have ate the pork, the shrimp, crab, and the lobster. If they would have stopped circumcising their children, they would have been able to have some type of comfort. But it would have only been a few days. It says, but a good name endureth forever. But the Jace that did sell out, we're not talking about them niggas. You're not praising them niggas. They not an example of how to be now. So that shows you that they name didn't live on. But the Eleazar, the Judas Maccabees, the Simon Maccabees, the 7 sons, they name did. It's still enduring right now. And it's still gonna be talked about in the kingdom.
And that's a beautiful precept too, because as you read that story, that's what it said too. That's what Eleazar like, because they even wanted him just to act like he was eating the pork. They didn't even want him to eat it no more, just act like it, because they were actually cool with him. They like just act like it. And he like, hell nah, like shit, I done lived a good life, shit. I done lived a long life. I ain't finna stain my motherfucking honor just for a goddamn couple minutes of goddamn glory or to spare my life. Shit, take it. It is, do what you do. I'm straight. But I'm gonna grab this precept you called for. This is Psalms 116 and 15. It's,
I think you start up probably like
a
couple verses. Like 12 or something.
In verse 12, it says, what shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me?
What can you give the Lord to equate to what he done for you?
Your
the
life?
answer would be, that's why you got to present your body as a living sacrifice, because that's the most we can do. That's the best thing we can do.
God. It says, I will take up, it's like I will take the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord.
And you taking the cup of salvation, and you take everything that come with it. Because when you go into salvation, when you go into the words salvation and deliverance, it's synonymous with you being in the midst of a life or death situation and then making it out of it.
It says, verse 14, it says, I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people.
And that's what Eleazar was doing. All the righteous men of the Lord, you read about the different accounts, they understood that they made a vow to serve the Lord day in, day out, unto death. Us coming into the truth, knowing the names, having a sound doctrine, brothers crossed over, or you could be a brother on a common board, or like you say, you could be a sister that just tune in, listen and learning, like some brothers like to say. You doing all of this is you acknowledging you got a vow to the Lord, and now we got to pay it. It said what? In the presence of all his people.
It says, verse 15, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints.
And that's a beautiful thing in the eyes of the Lord, to see his men give up their lives for the sake of for this truth, for the sake of righteousness. That's a mighty thing. The scripture tell you how for righteous man, one will scarcely die. You know, which we know the Lord is righteous. So the fact that the men of the Lord, certain men of the Lord, gonna be able to give up their lives for this thing, it's gonna be a mighty thing. It's something to be talked about forever.
Yep, kind man. This back in Esther. I'm gonna jump to 4:4. I'm gonna just jump down to 4:4 because like Jake can go read the story for themselves. But you know, once that decree went out, you know, Mordecai fasted himself and he had to go into Esther because now at the time, because Esther is his Esther was Mordecai's niece.
His cousin.
His cousin. Yeah, he was his cousin, and so he had to let her know, like, look, you know what I'm saying? You and the king, you one of his women. Like, you need to. This is what you need to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it says, I'm gonna jump to 4. It says, so Esther 4:4, Esther 4:4. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told her, because Mordecai wanted to speak with her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she rent raiment to clothe Mordecai and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not. Then Esther called for Hatak, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So Hatak went forth to Mordecai into the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
Because Esther didn't know what was going on.
Right.
She just knew that he was wearing sackcloth and the other Israelites was wearing sackcloth.
Yep. It says, verse 8, it says, Salakia. It says, verse 8, it says, also, he gave him the copy of the writing and of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, and to show them unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go into the king to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people. And at that time, like I said, as you read the story, like you could be put to death for going upon the king without being sent for, without being summoned. Right. Like he had to send for you. But he's like, you know what I'm saying, as you jump down, matter of fact, it says that Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hatak and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. And all the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether a man or woman, shall come into the king and to the inner court, who is not called, there's one law of his to be put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter that he may live. But I have not been called to come into the king these 30 days. Mm-hmm. So for a whole month, she hadn't even been called into the king. Right? He ain't seen her, ain't popped her, none of that, because she ain't been called into him. Right? This is verse 12. It says, and they told, this is a beautiful story. Brother, newcomers that may be listening to this is a beautiful story to get into. The whole one, even the additions. It says, and they told Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. So like shit, if we ain't gonna make it, you not gonna make it either. So don't think that you gonna make it because you refrain from doing what I'm telling you to do. It says, verse 14, it says, for if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed, and who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this. So Mordecai giving her the breakdown, how you know that you ain't set up for just this purpose alone. Like this may be your sole purpose for even being within the king's house is to deliver your people. That's cold. And so, but you need, as you go into the story, Esther end up doing so. You know what I'm saying? Esther end up doing all those things. You know what I'm saying? And the king had mercy on her. He held out the golden scepter. He did all those things. And she ended up making a dinner for Mordecai and not Mordecai Salakia, but for her Ahasuerus and Haman, right?
We ain't gotta read it.
Yeah, we ain't gotta read it. So you know what I'm saying? I'll just break it down. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it. So it's like, you know, he ended up setting up the dinner, you know, for the two. And, you know, the king asked a request and it would be granted to her. And the request was, you know, the request was she basically exposed Haman for what he was trying to do, shed the light on it, and the Lord put the spirit on Ahasuerus to get mad, Xerxes to get mad at Haman, and realized that gallows that he had set up for Mordecai, and he commanded that he be hung on those gallows. So it's showing you the trap that these devils think they setting for the nation of Israel is the same trap that they get ready to be taken by. The things that you got set up to destroy us, to kill us, is gonna be set up to destroy and to kill you.
Mm-hmm. I got something to close with.
Go ahead, Art. You got it.
This Psalms 141 and verse 8.
Kind.
But mine eyes are to thee, O Yahweh, the Lord. In thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. And the Lord not going to leave us destitute. He going to be delivering us out of certain situations. And you might even have the liberty of seeing the deliverance from a situation, then seeing somebody that was against you being put in that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, verse 9 is the point. Keep me from the snare. Well, verse 9 and 10 says, keep me from the snare which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity, which snares and gins is all traps. Okay, and these devils, they've been setting traps for Jake every time they got around Jake. We read about the Medo-Persian Empire. We read a little bit of the Grecian Empire. Every time Edomites was around Israelites, they was always consulting to cast us down from our excellency. And that was in the form of the different traps. So it says, verse 10 is the point. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, whilst that I withal escape. And that's what happened with Haman and Mordecai. Mm-hmm. Haman set up a net. He set up the gallows, which was like a snare or gin. You know, it was a trap for Mordecai. And guess what? Mordecai escaped from that trap, and Haman fell into it. Mm-hmm. And that's what's about to happen with the lake. They about to escape from the devices of Esau Edom that he going to be using to keep us oppressed, to do away with us. And he going to fall into those same devices.
And he going to be done away with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Lord willing, we hope pray this edifying through the Spirit. Close, we're going to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule and teach where we learned this truth from. And may peace, mercy, and blessings be upon the hopeful elect that believe in this truth is sincere. Next time we say, Kwame Shalom.
Kwame Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.